Hello, my name is Tom, and today's video is changing from the weekly Trump video to the weekly politics video. Because as I've said repeatedly, politics tends to run negative. It's very important for your own sake not to get bogged down with it constantly every single day, so we only discuss this once a week. Um, and it's not really right to just focus exclusively on Trump because he gets all the headlines. So we're going to try to fix that up a little bit. Yeah, that camera looks slightly crooked to me. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Alrighty then. We're going to start with a couple of governors. In the recent past. Kristi Noem. We can assume she is no longer on the short list for former President Trump's VP list because it seems people don't like when you put your puppy down in a gravel pit because you're bad at training puppies. Let's see. Governor Kathy Hochul publicly stated that black kids in the Bronx are so ignorant that they don't know what a computer is. Good luck in your next election, Governor. Let's see. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate was not only booed as she brought it to the floor, lost 359 to 43. And she complained that the Uniparty is protecting Speaker Johnson. It's worth noting, of her 43 votes, 3 out of 4 of them came from the farthest left Democrats in the House. The attack ads write themselves. RFK Jr., it's been revealed that he suffered brain damage according to a deposition he gave during divorce proceedings. It seems he had a worm suspected from undercooked pork, and he had mercury poisoning, and it had, according to him at the time, an impact on his short-term and long-term memory. And just looking at his behavior today, it's not a stunning revelation to me. You take that for however you want to take that. Let's see. President Joe Biden. When it comes to Israel. Whew, boy. So he paused or slow walked a weapons package to Israel to ramp up pressure. It seems to try to prevent an even greater humanitarian crisis through an invasion into Rafah. Israel went ahead and did that anyway, and now Biden has gone public on, an ultimatum. He didn't just say it behind closed doors, he said it on the news. And there was a shift in his language too. If Israel engages in a major offensive in Rafah, or major operations in Rafah, he will pause all aid with the exception of Iron Dome and, humanitarian stuff. No other weapons. Before, it was no large-scale ground offensive into Rafah. The reason this change in language is huge is, you can't just bomb all the civilian centers with 2,000-pound bombs that are specifically not meant to be used in population-dense areas. And, other tactics that Israel has been engaging in. Like Israel has to... This is Biden saying, no, really, you have to stop deliberately killing civilians. So to the college protesters, congratulations. You have achieved a degree of success that protests almost never achieve. You pressured the President of the United States into pausing aid and potentially stopping aid to an ally during a major conflict. That's an enormous victory. Like, that's not something one typically achieves. You have literally altered U.S. foreign policy, and you did it in months instead of years. Good job. And you did it for the right reasons. You were trying to save the lives of civilians who were either being targeted through carelessness, through depraved indifference, or through deliberate action. That deserves recognition. A little bit more on the college protesters in the news. Crackdowns had begun because, well, the protesters were essentially threatening the money, demanding their colleges divest from investments in Israel. Surprise, it's not long after that police show up. Basically, when you threaten money, that's when the state sends armed thugs with nightsticks and chemical irritants and helmets to deal with the undesirables. The thing here is the government is they're being very careful in their messaging and saying the problem isn't so much the protesters, it's outside agitators. That's to try to give them a little bit of cushion from blowback because it's an election year. It has nothing to do with outside agitators. It's the protesters threaten the money. Okay, now we get to the Trump part. We'll start with the polls. So that's technically Trump and Biden. Still shows like close, neck and neck. Sometimes it shows Biden in the lead. Usually shows Trump in the lead. Even under ordinary circumstances, the polls this far out are pretty much worthless. For example, but the polls have been getting less and less reliable anyway. For example, in 2016, former President Donald J. Trump became President Donald J. Trump. And the polls did not predict that. So why is that? Well, I would suspect the pollsters are having a hard time identifying who the likely voters are, because suddenly the likely voters include young people. The primary method of gathering information is to robocall, and as soon as somebody picks up, you have a person start asking them questions. So basically, their polls are being taken by calling them random numbers of people in the white pages. And surprise, there's a very, very, very large demographic of voters now who do not answer phone calls from people they don't know. They expect you to leave a message if they don't know you. Okay, primaries. The primary in Indiana. Donald Trump won the uncontested primary in Indiana with 78.3% of the vote. The 21.7% went to Nikki Haley, who dropped out of the race months ago. This implies that 1 in 5 Republicans are, at least in Indiana, are not motivated to vote for Trump. Now, this does not represent all Republicans. This represents the Republicans who are highly motivated to take part in elections. The highly motivated voters, 1 in 5 of them in the Republican Party in Indiana, do not want Trump. It's not a good sign. And again, when it comes to Joe Biden, eh, he's not doing great with the Democratic Party voters either. You know, there's a lot of old people who really aren't interested in paying attention to young people, and it's costing them large portions of their base. Okay, Trump in court. Let's see. Stormy Daniels made her testimony. Okay, it was bedroom shenanigans, some of which I imagine were somewhat embarrassing to the former president, as is expected when, you know, your bedroom actions become public. Uh, the defense made multiple motions for mistrial. They were on very shaky ground there, didn't pan out. Uh, his attorneys have made a bunch of questionable choices. You see, he hired top tier, high end attorneys, at least half a dozen of them, to be the leaders in his legal matters on his legal teams. Ones who specialized in things like finance law, or one who specializes in RICO defense. You know, he's got specialists who are top tier lawyers. And for whatever reason, he chose to sideline them and make them assistants to other lawyers on his team. Oftentimes, those lawyers are brash, very vocal. They tend to speak to the public a lot and mug for the cameras. They do not seem to be experienced trial attorneys, and oftentimes they seem to be hammer lawyers. And this is not working out well for him. All right, and finally, the contempt hearings, as you probably already heard. The judge says he's ready to consider incarceration as a deterrent to further contempt of court, because $1,000 fine, which is the maximum under New York law, well, that's not a deterrent to a billionaire, especially one who has other people paying his legal fees for him. Whether or not that happens, we'll see. And how that will work out logistically, we'll see. Because there's a lot of questions that have to be answered as to how that will happen. Anyway, that's all for this week. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think. And, you know, have a good day. Do not focus on politics for the rest of the day. Try to just little bits and pieces throughout the week. Your life will be happier. The people around you will be happier. Have a great day.